Okay, here we go. Sometimes the hardest thing is to really just figure out where to start. So, let me start by seeing if I ring this guy up. I'm going to get rid of anything else. Including those two. Keep that one. I'll let this ring sling all the way around. Here you can see there's not a ton of curve going on at the base there. Now I'm not sure that I can do anything with this, but let's see if Flow Connect helps us in any way at all. It was not bad at all, except I had stuff up here I didn't notice. Let me hit F3 just to check. I got some edges here I definitely don't want that it ringed. And Float Connect's actually gonna be pretty good. Gives me quite a nice curve going around the whole thing, except at the bottom. Hit J, and really, if I wanted to curve that a little bit, I could just move it up a little bit, but I'm going to leave it flat for now. And let's try it on the other side. I'll hide my reference plane. I kind of remember now what I gotta round out. Hit my ring and F3. Just get rid of all the stuff that gets grabbed up near the front. And remember here to get rid of these guys. And those on the trigger. I think that's good. And Flow Connect that. That is not too shabby. Let's go ahead and start here, come down. All the way here, and I believe Flow Connect might not do a good job there. It did an okay job, however it brought this forward, so maybe if I get one more here, and it kind of blends in a little nicer. I got a pretty decent curve going around here. If I was going ultra high res, I would have told that to do more segments, because I believe you do have options. Maybe not. I don't see. Oh, it automatically does a whole loop. Okay, definitely don't want that. But it doesn't look like I actually have options for doing more than one segment in this Flow Connect, which is kind of poop. So I'll just do a regular Flow Connect. I don't really believe I need more segments, but just to see what it's going to come out like. I can hit that again. It rounds it even further. I can always remove these segments later if I say, okay, I don't need them. It's not helping curve enough, or I need to cut some polys somewhere. I could do it there. So just do it for now, because it does make a nice round curve. Let me ring that guy and Flow Connect that. Curves that a little nicer. Okay. these are not as pointy and sharp as I have here, so let me see about chamfering that. I don't need it to go very far. Let's move this out of the way so we can see it. And that's not terrible. Reference pick does show that it's got a curve to it. It's rounded there. And again, I could do one more segment if I wanted to, but that's very tight. And sure, it helps the curve there, but let's do it anyway. Let's go crazy. And I can actually add. It's one of the nice things while you got your operation open here, you can add and subtract from your selection. Okay, now rounds that out. Just hit OK. And then I need to do a little cleanup. Basically, optimize. I'm going to keep that triangle there, and the reason is because what it's doing for me is avoiding me having a bunch of thin triangle strips going down the side of the grip there. So it's just really isolating my uglies, as I like to call them. Okay, so it doesn't really change too much the smoothness going on. There are some issues, however. What I can do to help that a little bit is actually probably connect it there. And then now this is back to a quad here, which has the minimum amount of long triangles that you can possibly get. However, there is an edge here, and I gotta make sure it doesn't connect this way. I gotta make sure it connects this way. Again, the real fix would be to make sure that every one of these segments goes all the way back. I may have to do that because I've got these nasties here, and they're quite nasty. And they're pretty much going to be persistent on both sides unless like I said, I split more segments down the back. Okay, so let's do that. Let's get all these and just, I don't need that bottom one there. Just backspace those out. Actually, I don't need that one. Or that one, because that one's a good spot. And what I can do is take these back here, connect them. Okay, if I want to make sure it's in line with that, which it is, I don't need to do anything else. Just can shoot straight back from there now. Okay, I can actually shoot to there. Quads. And I still have to deal with these. So I could run another segment and another segment. It's going to give me a very smooth curve back here, so it could actually come in handy to do it. I'm going to need two. So if I connect with two segments, And I'll just pinch it away a little bit and hit OK. And now I can run straight across here. Okay. Do the same thing here. Actually, I only need one segment on this guy. And I'll slide it down some. Like that. I can shoot that back. Then I can shoot all these over. And I do have these horizontal ugly craps going on, but I am dealing in quads, so there's not an awful lot I can do about it. I can use that to help smooth out this curve, because right now they're straight. So what I can do, just to see if it does do anything, let me just grab one full length here and hit ring, and that's going to run up the gun way too far out the front and over the trigger and over the hills and through the woods. I don't want that, and I don't really want to mess with that. And let's see if set flow likes us. Doesn't like us a lot, but it likes us a little bit. Can try to do it on just this guy here to hopefully even that out. Yeah. So it's evened it out some. And another attempt I could make is doing this piece here, which will help me get a little bit of a cleaner edge from where I go to add this over noise where the grip is very rough. There's actually noise here, but trying to ignore the noise that's in the actual picture, go with what's on the gun. If you look, it's not smooth. There's detail in there. This is not hyper smooth metal. It's pitted, you know, it's got texture, and it looks relatively fine. Then it gets a little rougher. Then on this particular model they went with actual little dots, and obviously we've got these dots and stuff here, that all that stuff's just going to be in the normals. And then you got your Glock here logo where it is smooth. You notice that it's smooth. That's not smooth. You know, there's really nothing that is smooth on this gun except for the barrel and a little bit on the sight. That's not smooth at all either. This piece is. You can see that's polished metal. This is bumpy plastic. You can see that this gun's actually been fired. You can see where the trigger hits right there. We might actually even want to put that in our texture, because why not? We're going to have the space for it. So it'll be kind of interesting to do. Very fine pitting here, very fine texture there. A couple of little dents and stuff where this gun has been actually used. So back to what we're doing. I could try. This will possibly help with the uglies. I'm not sure if it's going to, if I do an inset, can't go too far, but I can scale it some in. There's not a lot of roundness going on the side of the gun here. It's very flat, starting about here. which is a bit of a little bit of a different model. I'm not sure this is doing me any good at all. Obviously I need to fix the smoothing groups, which needs to get put on group 1, I think. Yeah, hold grips on group 1. Everything else should be on 1. Pretty sure it actually does help kind of isolate the lighting artifacts. Again, this is going to be so highly normaled with that pitting and rough texture that this will be pretty unnoticeable. I could, however, probably help it if I split it down this way. So let's give that a shot. Oh, Q, and we'll go up. How far up? Actually, I could do 2, because this channel here looks like it kind of curves like this and then dips in there. So I'm going to go up all the way so that the ugly triangles end up in this flat, which is very, very less noticeable. And if I go connect with 2 segments and I get rid of my slide and I pinch it out a little bit, just hit OK, and it's all kind of rough. It'd be nice if it was a little more running in a clean pattern here. So let's see what we can do about that. We might have to break the model to actually get that. Let's just take a gander at what set flow does, which dips it down and probably dipped it up. No, didn't dip it up, but it didn't do me any good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and constrain by my edge. I'm going to make it planar in the X. I'm going to try to even this into a good spot and then hit that again so that it can actually complete itself. And then I'm going to use skew, and that, if you pick the right axis, and if none of the axes seem to do any good, try to change the direction to 90. And let's just go drastic. It's really not working at all. It should be the X, but I don't think it's taken into account, so it doesn't look like I can use skew. However, I might actually be able to rotate it. And that worked, because I'm constraining by edge to keep it pretty clean. And that did work. So let me get this loop, which goes nicely all the way around. Still on edge, just going to make it planar in the X again. I'm going to move it over so it's not reaching. You see it couldn't go too far because it hit that point, so I got that dent there. So if I just move it out and hit it again, now I'm good, and I should be able to rotate it in the same amount. Can't go too far back here because I'll hit there. You'll see it. Can't go too far, so it won't go past the edge. So if I stay about there and get rid of the bottom here, now I can go a little bit further to about there. Let's check my lighting artifacts. They're not too shabby. There's something going on here where you can see that it doesn't know what to do here, so it might be good to split up this way, but for now I'm going to leave this because it's not too bad. Let me see if I go to loop mode and this guy and tell it to be planar in the Z. Let's see what I get. I do these one at a time. It tightens them. But it maintains the curve, and now it's perfectly straight across. So it is better. Technically, probably shouldn't have gotten this particular edge on the end, but it didn't really seem to break an awful lot. Even that guy out. Do that on the other side. Just get a couple of these so I can zoom in. Make sure I follow that edge. Follow this edge. If I go straight up, it should do that anyway. Fix a couple of these that could and should be in line. Just going to manually fix them. So now I'm just kind of evening out the spacing. This is a very old way of doing this, just moving it manually. Constrained to edge, but it works. I'm not relying on the dopey computer to figure it out for me. And let's check our flow. I don't really like what's happening here. It kind of makes me want to connect this way, which will give me a triangle. For some reason I'm backwards here. Let's get all these. Minus that one. Try to even it out a little bit. And now what I can do is just get this ring here. I don't want to hit ring because this is going to shoot up the whole model and take longer. And I can hit that with a single connect. Single. Hit OK. And now I can freeform optimize. Connect that guy. Try to keep a good curve. It's lessening and increasing as I go. Really, this segment here is not actually doing me any good. However, let me make sure I'm not on this anymore. So I'm going to go View F here, and I'm going to unhide by name, get my plane, and now I can try to get a little smoother curve going on, match the gun a little better, which it's matching okay so far. Could help this here. Definitely need to curve this guy, which is going to be a little bit of a puzzle. Not awful. And I'll just stay in my side view here. I'll go ahead and connect that. And that's looking okay. I could cut here, so a little bit more, and here if I wanted to go a little bit more on the detail, but for now I'm going to leave it as is, and just bridge that stuff there with a connect. Okay. You can see this object in total is 1,000 polys. The other one was 1,500. If I keep going in this fashion, I'm probably going to hit roughly 5,000 polys, which is okay. Like I said, that was the budget I set for it, being a first-person model. I'm going to use the low res for the third-person model. And I mentioned earlier that I'll be providing it, which I will, to those who help out our project, because we're in need. But you will get the high-res version. What I think I'm going to try to do is unwrap this guy and go in and dump a lot of this detail for the low-res guy, which will in fact give me the ability to have the textures be shared between the two objects. Same material, same texture. It's actually easier to low-res a model than it is to up-res a model without breaking your unwrap being the key factor, because I've already moved things around. If I hit this with a checkerboard, even though it was unwrapped, it's not going to be. It is not going to be clean. Pretty much guaranteed. So now I'm just kind of cleaning up the flow a little bit here and there. It's good practice. I got a smooth curve going around. I don't like that vert poking up there, so I'm going to maintain that a little bit better. This one down here, you get a little bit of the same help. This one even less, but still okay. Alright, let's try to get this guy to curve properly. So what I'm going to do first, just get those in line. Let's just make it planar in the Z. Remember, I got edge constraining, so it stays clean. It's fine. Now, what I can probably do is if I actually dump these two temporarily and connect across here like that. Actually, let's not do that yet. One would think I can connect here and here, but I do need some detail. Let's get rid of these two, and for now let's get rid of that guy, because I'm going to attempt a chamfer, and I know that this is broke. Let me just go back and hit Control to get my edges. I'm going to attempt to chamfer this right here. I have no idea if it's going to work, and it's actually working okay. It's not too shabby, but I can't go too far. Back it off a little bit until I see that this one starts backing off too, because you can see that one hits like a spot where it doesn't like me anymore. It's alright, I'm not a big fan of him either. This part's kind of tough. Not overly tough, but a little tough. Okay, let's look at it actually dips down and swoops around. That's relatively horizontal where that curve terminates. It's slightly going up to about there, but still I need a good round curve there, which means these points actually, let me get my plane back here and oops, and check where I need to be, which is about, I don't want to be on constrained edge anymore. About there. Did I miss a point? Actually, these guys can get out of here for now. I don't need these two interfering with my business. Okay. That's not so bad. And what I can do is just get these and connect them. Go ahead and constrain to edge and planar it to the Z, so it's flat across, and then I can connect there and there. And let me see what happens if I loop mode this guy and tell it to set flow. Yeah, it's actually a little better. I might have a slight bit of a tighter curve than it's showing on the source reference. So I can chamfer this to split it into two. Try to get it roughly even. Okay. Then we try set flow again. Come on, it's right there. And you can see that's not It's not that bad at all. However, I do want to, well, let me see if set flow is genius enough to fix these for me. It may or may not be. Let's see what we get. Nope, it's stupid. I hate it. Let's try it without that. Nope, it's still dumb. It's dumb as a box of bricks. But what I can do is slightly cheat and just kind of go like that, rotate it a little bit. That helps bring it in line some. Okay. And I can also move it down a little bit and rotate it a little bit more, because on my reference pick it's tightening the curves wide, real smooth, and then it's starting to get tighter right here as that goes back. So I need to extend one more. Keeping on edge constraint, I can tighten that myself. Which now means I need to figure out if set flow can fix that, and it can, so that's very nice. Okay, it's a very, very clean curve. It matches. The only thing I'm missing is that it actually dips out backwards, so if I pretty much grab all these guys minus all the stuff I got in the front, I'll go ahead and let it go down to the bottom. Including those. Straight here for certain, so I don't want to dip that out, but I can now connect this and make sure I'm not on constraint or it won't let me move it, and I can, oops, move this out to help flesh that curve out a little bit. Now, I don't think set flow is going to do me any good here. It's going to want to shoot this over here, pretty sure. Yeah, so what I'm going to do here is manually help this guy got an edge going that way, which is causing this to look ugly. The infamous uglies. Okay, I'm going to completely undo all that, because in fact that is not dipped out like that is. So I'm only going to go up as far as, oops, that, and connect it. But I think I might do 2 segments and pinch them. And hit OK. And now if I move that back without constraints, not too far. Very, very nice curve going on here. Okay, which is very, very close to what's going on there. And then I can pretty much just connect like that. I can also probably cheat this little guy. Okay, we're going to have a slight bit of a rough one coming up because I need to chamfer down this big old line. So let's see what happens. I'm still on optimize, get off of that. Let's just double check our lighting, which some stuff we can and should fix. I probably need to, again, like I said, split up here to avoid this, but this might end up supporting another bit of shape that we're going to have to cut in here, which is going to be that thumb guard where you stick your thumb. So let's go around here. I don't think Loop is going to know what to do. Nah. Okay. I ended up grabbing some goofy stuff over there. Just gonna do one side at a time. I don't need an awfully huge chamfering. However, let's go to my front view and go in visible. Just temporarily going to move that out of the way. Actually, we're about right here. Just want to cut that in real quick. Starting there is where it's curved. Here it's dipped in and flat. We need to add this piece here that dips in where the gun takes a shape change. Actually gets a channel carved in here, plus it's got a groove running down through the bottom, which we're going to want to cut that out too. So this is going to let us basically curve this top. There's some madness going on here with a dip going in, but I'm going to have to try to take care of that if I do it, which I probably will make the attempt after I run the chamfer, because if I do this and then run the chamfer, it's going to chamfer all crazy, and this looks pretty sharp. So I want to actually start here. I know I moved the gun down, but I can just move it back to 0 at any moment. This might give us problems, considering all these edges that are spiking up to it. I'm just going to have to see what happens. It's really not too shabby. Let's see what happens if I increase it. Oh, no, it's shabby. It's okay running down the length. I can fix that manually, because I have to anyway, because it's got to dip down in. That gets pushed in. But back here, it is not happy at all. So obviously I can't go too far without having to fix. I could let this go, but the problem is I've got these edges here that are coming to this triangular point. So temporarily just going to backspace them out, and unfortunately that means I got to run down through this selection again. But I needed to see what was going to happen. And I get these two here. I'm going to get some crazy stuff going on there, but that I believe is going to be best. Let's see what happens if I just get these guys out of there. It's really not liking me here in this back corner, which could have some point it's wanting to freak out there. So I could fix it manually, which I think I might have to do. I'm just going to do it. It would be good practice. Which I'm going to get this guy's Y value and make sure that I'm starting my curve on that same Y value. I'm going to go ahead and attach that one there. And then just going to kind of let me get this one's Y value too. And get that one in line. Which means I now need to, I don't have set flow unless I'm on edges, and I don't know how much it's going to be able to really help me. Not an awful lot. However, I can still constrain to edge and take care of this a little better. This is actually going to be slightly obscured by the slide, which does help my cause. I can cheat and split this gun in half, so I don't have to do it going the other way as well. I think I'm gonna do that, just for all you fine folks who want to see how to run an object in symmetry. And that's not too bad. Once I run smoothing groups and stuff on it, it won't look too bad. Let me get this. Just for now, I'm gonna combine that, keeping in mind that I do need to split here so that I can have the flat that dips in, which is actually back here. So if I go view F and Alt X and then Z, I actually need to be about there, and just put the gun back to its original position. Oh, I don't want to be constraining to my edges or nothing. Let me just move this out of the way to maybe a little bit more forward. Let me move it out of the way, and I'm a little bit more forward on that guy. However, I want to get this to be at the top. Okay. Again, it's going to be dipping in. Okay. This one got moved from this position, so I need to get the X, the Y, and the Z. So let me get the Y first, and then let me get the Z. Okay, now that's in line with the rest of everything else. And that all dips in, but I'm not worried about that quite yet because I still have to split it. Okay, now let's make sure these points down the middle are at Zilcho marks. Okay, they're all down the middle. So what I'm going to do is temporarily cut this guy in half down the middle and delete half of it, then symmetry it, and work on just half. That way all this good stuff I just did here I don't have to repeat over here, and it's actually going to be quicker. And it could be beneficial to just ring the whole gun, but it didn't like it here. Okay, and it didn't want to go farther that way. So instead, I'm just going to select all my faces. I'm going to use my slice plane. I need to rotate it in 90 degrees. If you watch down here, because I'm on my angle snap, it'll be increments of 5. Okay, you see that in the X down there? Okay, want to get to 90. Alright, and that is going to effectively split it. Oh, and let me hit W and make sure that's at 0, which it is, and I just hit slice. Okay, now if I look at the top view, pretty much just drag across half this guy. I need to zoom in up close. I want to make sure I didn't get an accidental poly on one side or miss a poly on the side I want to delete. That's good. And I can use symmetry now. And that looks kind of funny. So I want to do it in the Y, and if it disappeared, I just hit flip. And I want to go to the mirror here and make sure that's 0 in the Y, which it is, so that way my gun doesn't get any thinner. If you make it farther, let me just show you what happens here. You know, if I'm moving my mirror plane, the cool thing about symmetry is if you do, it's unlike a mirror. You can see it's actually collapsing everything together. So if you needed to make something thinner, it's still welding the seam together, which I find interesting. If you go too far, then you need to uncheck flip. Okay. So I'm just going to put that at 0 in the Y. And now I can go back to editable poly, and you see that, well, now my symmetry's gone. There's a big old giant rivet right here. It says show end result on or off toggle. Just hit that. And now when I go to mess with a point on one side, I get it working on the other side too. Okay? So that, and also brought over all that detail that I did. Now the important thing when you are working in symmetry is any of the points or edges that you are working with down that symmetry don't get moved away from the center in your symmetry axis. Okay? You can't move any of these center points in the Y at all. They can move perfectly fine in the X and the Z, but if they go from the Y, they're no longer going to be welded at the seam. And that's pretty much the important factor. So, and what it has done is yes, it's added this segment going down the whole thing. It's not so much supporting any real shape right now. However, it's very easy. You can still do all your optimizing, still do all your other tools. It is very easy to remove this seam when we're done, just by picking the whole loop and control backspace and it's gone. Once we collapse our symmetry, when we're done doing any of this stuff that might take longer than we originally anticipated. Okay, so let me go ahead and get that dip here, and I'm going to connect it with one segment, make sure it goes planar in the X. And now I'm going to move it to actually be in line with this guy, and then I'm going to connect that to it. Okay, I don't have any double verts. And then what's going to happen, make sure I come off of optimize. I'm going to take these faces here, and I have no choice but to make a guess on how far that comes in. I can try to examine. It looks pretty thin. I don't want it so thin that it's literally not existing. Oops. So I'm just going to go, like I said, pretty thin. And I'm going to make this planar in the Y. You might think, oh, it's going to make it planar with this, it's going to collapse it. However, I am on symmetry, so I'm good. Planar in the Y. It made that other side planar in the Y, which is nice. And you can see now I've got this dip, which I feel I have dipped in a little too far. Okay. And now I'll be able to cut this and get this channel going through quite nicely, I hope. And I pray. But I believe it is going to work out okay. Okay, so temporarily, I'm just going to dump those segments out, because if you look here, this is actually a nice curve, and what I've got here is two gaudy segments. So just don't want to be on optimize. I'm going to take these two bad boys, I'm going to hit connect, and this is going to let me, actually this one, I'm going to add some segments to that, connect back to the start of my I've got something over there, all the way back there. Then I can just punch this in. I'll punch it in right in the face. Okay, I think I'm okay. So I'm going to hit that. I'm going to go to my front view, and I'm going to hit Alt X, and now I'm going to just start pulling these in. To match this curve a little bit. You see it kind of comes to here. So I'm going to get this guy and move that down to that line. I'm going to go ahead and make it planar in the Z so it's flat, which it is. Alt X. Oh, I was actually grabbing the inside one, which was stupid. Let me Alt X that. And I need to make that planar, which gets fixed. Make sure this point didn't move off of Y0, which it did. Okay, when I did that. You can see this actually bulges out. It's kind of angled back and then goes straight. Whereas me, I'm not maintaining that rule at all, unless I go like that, which pulls this guy. If I look in my front view and hit F3, pulls this guy out of whack. So one simple dimple way to fix that is just to make these planar in the Z real quick. You could always actually just scale it. However, be careful, sometimes you can do that in another axis on accident. That's pretty good. It is kind of a sharp angle there, but I've got this looking not so good here, because when I did my connect, I should have actually done a flow connect. Actually a little confused. What I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten these out in the Y real quick. Minus that guy. And see what I see. And then I'm going to hit 2. Copy the Y here, so I can hit 1 and paste it. So now I've brought that to straight. Oops, I grabbed the inside when I did that right here, which I did not, definitely did not want. Grab the Y, okay, now I should be able to paste. So now I'm flat. Here. And I got a good curve here. And what I can do is this channel looks like it cuts all the way through to the front of the gun. I should be able to just move that in. And then what I need to do is actually get rid of this guy, connect there and to there. Now I'm going to probably end up splitting down here to round this more and help fix all this madness that I pretty much botched here. But I need to, getting up on my time limit, jam over it, bring that in like that. That dips in. That's relatively close to what's going on with the gun. Let's just take a look. Deselect it. Hit F4. Okay, I gotta work my smoothing groups to clean that up. And there might be something I can do about this. I probably need to, when I do this, I need to split here too, because it looks slightly curvy. So I'll add that too. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this part of the video and encode it, and then come back and continue. And once again, before I do any of that, save. Very important. You can see I'm now at 3,000 roughly. Unfortunately, there is not actually an awful lot more detail I really need to add in terms of polys. However, there's a lot more work to do. It's just not all of it's going to really be adding detail. So, okay, here we are. All right.